Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Spiritism at Noon, hosted by the Spiritist Group of New York. We are currently studying the book A Full Life by the Spirit Joanna de Angelis, written through the mediumship of Divaldo Franco. And we are in chapter 14, and as we always like to remind everyone, each chapter brings a different subject, and sometimes we explore this subject more than just one day due to the so many lessons we can gather, which is actually what we are going to be doing with this chapter today. This chapter is about self-control. And last week, we talked a lot about this idea of self-control, of, us understanding that when we are talking about, the self, when we are thinking about ourselves, we are thinking about our personal progress. Having said that, it doesn't mean that we are not emphasizing enough the importance of us, representing an impact in the lives of others, especially the ones that are very close to us, that we want to progress as well, that we want to for them to experience this growth, for them to go through this journey of inner transformation, of getting to know themselves, getting to know the reason why they are here, why we have this existence, and how can we, through our possibilities, develop. Right. And this is one of the things that we were talking about, very much the beginning of everything, and how we started simple and unaware, and went through the several stages of life. We made a comparison thinking about, even life and matter as we know, from the time a baby is born until it matures, and all the phases of life. And there are the phases that we are more worried about our survival, worried about the self meaning the ego per se, the I, right? And how it comes to a point that even though we believe we forces, all the other forces are controlling us, in fact, is always our choice, because we have free will. And in this case, free will dictate whether, what I'm going to do or not, what path am I going to be tracking in my life. And many times we try to blame circumstances. And this is when Joanna de Angelis says and comes and say, self-control. It's all about you. It's all about, your choices and what you are going to be doing in terms of that. So then she comes to the point where she talks about the successive reincarnations, right? The purpose of all that, and the growth that we can gather in terms of solidarity, justice, joy, and well-being. So this is where we stopped when she starts talking about experience at the large supermarket. Do you want to read for us, Zoraida?
Absolutely, of course.
Okay.
You hear me?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Recently, a large supermarket opened its doors, selling only natural products, causing its shelves to look empty, shocking the customers. It so happens that the great majority of the food stuff comes from other countries, which in turn benefit from what is produced where their goods are sold. This simple fact, when applied to other matters, has a much greater impact because normally certain people or regions are more specialized or greater producers of certain goods with legal trade ensuring widespread abundance. Philosophically speaking, the revelations made by Spiritism often offer valuable tools for the task of redemptions of lives. On the one hand, suffering of all sorts has come to call the mind to ponder on destiny and pain, despite its desire for love and happiness. On the other hand, the moral aberrations of this century and the calamities that erupt every second are other factors that propel the redemption and union among nations in order to help each other out. Human beings understand the imperatives for an edifying reality through wholesome philosophies that balance emotion and appease hearts.
Okay. It's very interesting what she's saying here because, in a way, she's saying we can not be an island on ourselves,
Mm,
right? We may believe that we can be independent, that, you know, we may have the skills to survive, but we don't,
mm,
right? And this is a very good example that she brought about, even when we are talking about nourishment, the considering the variety of things that we have today and how important the different vitamins, the intakes, everything that they represent for our health, for us to limit ourselves to the intake of only certain produce, it wouldn't be a good idea, right? And that most of all, there is no problem in us knowing that there is this codependence because it is an exchange. You have what I need, I have what you need, and both of us can have what we need if we work together.
mm.
And
Yeah.
so here is the basis for fraternity. This is the basis to understand that any movement that goes uh, against that is not working in favor of nature, is not working in favor of progress. There might be things happening in the sense, but it doesn't mean that it is the good formula. The good formula has been tested throughout the millennia already, right? And this is how society appeared. We found out that, a little village down there would be able to produce wheels better than I do. But you know what? I have water in my land. So you give me wheels, I'll give you water, and then you can water your crops and all of those things and all this impact and that she talks about it. That of course comes to us and impacts us philosophically speaking, but it's not just a matter of philosophy, it's a matter of using reason and understanding the chances of survival. And in this sense, I think that when she talks about all the things that we see that goes against this movement of one helping another, of
Mm.
one collaborating with one another, it's really a sort of an aberration, and it will have to pass. It will have to pass. Any comment or question?
Yes, Sarah, she is so on target when she explains things. It's amazing. And at the end of the day, you think of these things, and no matter how much we look at things, differences, and the reality is that we need each other.
Mm-hmm.
And if we do not understand that, it is not going to work. Whatever
Mm-hmm.
excuses you want to put, I don't care if it's the law uh, or people that don't understand, yeah, we have to get along. It is helping each other to progress and move on. And if we don't, we're going to be stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
You see it now. Whatever you want, whichever way you want to think it, if it's living, if it's the law, if it's whatever you want to think of. It is getting to understand who we are, guiding each other, helping each other. And this is what is so important to look at it, is for each other to help. And life would be so simple and so peaceful if people could understand these things, whether it's the products, whether it's the way we act. It's all in that. And we have to understand that it is that we need each other. No matter how much you see it, we need each other.
It's interesting because we nowadays that we are exposed to so much, right? And the creativity, the different talents, and I mean, we see things that we couldn't even imagine that there were possible, right? People making things, painting things, cooking things, and the movements they do with their bodies, the discoveries, the progress, and everything else. And so, I mean, that shows very clearly that collaboration is the only way through, right? And but here, when also she talks about, self-control, right? When we're talking about self-control, collaboration, uh, again, it doesn't mean us being imposed by others to act in certain ways, to do things in certain ways. We have to use our ethical, moral values as well, because in the same way that there will be so many good things coming about, there will be things that will not necessarily be in our own interest. And it doesn't mean that this, going back to a kind of primitivism in terms of, uh, emotions, feelings would be good for us as well. Okay, anything? So let's continue reading here.
However, the intrinsic emptiness of the tense times in which we live and the diverse challenges we face conspire against our personal peace on account of the degrading pleasures that we have grown accustomed to. The result is continuous moral failure and spiritual defeat, pushing humanity toward horrendous testimonies that it cannot avoid. Thus, an upright conduct is a must, for it is the best and only antidote that will allow us to enjoy everything good and beautiful that our thousands of years old culture has managed to produce. This desperate revolution occurs within almost all individuals, including those who work and strive for the good, and yet feel as if something is still missing. Instead of experiencing the infallible joy that all God's workers should enjoy. To say the cause and persevere is the infallible recipe to attain the plenitude desired by everyone. That unpleasant inner feeling is a product of the morbid psychospheres of the earth undergoing purification.
Okay, so, but she's talking here about the difficult times we are living. And this is a fact. We all have been feeling that. We all have been feeling how hard the psychosphere here is all over the world for different reasons. Some almost the same, but overall, so many different reasons that has been overwhelming everyone. And like we were saying before, leading us to think that we cannot be in control, that there is no way around, just, surrender to the situation. And this is what she's telling about. Do not surrender. Do remember that there is a different way. Remember that this is still related to moral failure, to how we are still connected to the bad choices that we have grown accustomed through the millennia. But it doesn't mean that it has to continue like that. It is very much like, knowing that I was bitten by a poisonous snake, and
Yeah.
there is an antidote, and I'll say, yeah, but I don't know if it's going to work. I mean, at least I have to try,
Right.
right? At least I have to try. I have to go against and say, oh no, everyone that got bite by this snake's going to be dead. Well, maybe not if I take a different course in terms of action, if I go through a different to a different situation. And so this is what she's saying. We have to look for what we are thinking and feeling that is missing, and what is missing in us is God. What is missing is us is this holiness, is this the purity of emotions that we have put aside for so long because we
Mm.
we don't believe anymore, or it's being so hard for us to think that things can work in a way, and
Mm.
so I just going to conform and make believe, or and allow myself to be dragged by all this. But then again, like she says, we don't have to do that, and we shouldn't be doing that. We should be going in a different direction, and we should be contributing for this change of this morbid psychosphere. And it's interesting the way she puts it, because she says, this unpleasant inner feeling is the product of the morbid psychosphere of the earth undergoing purification. Because, at the same time that death is something that frightens us so much, it also has, an occult meaning, which is new
Mm.
life, renovation.
Mm.
Right? So there is a morbidity, this morbid thing that represents the dead of the old,
Mm.
so that a new way of things may arise. And sometimes, like we say, we have to go deep down to go up.
Mm.
Right? We have to, when you want to run, you know, faster.
Seven.
Normally, what do? We take 3, 4, 5 steps back to get the impulse and then to reach our goal. So I think in a way, we are in this moment where it seems like, very much like a ball, we're coming back so that we can fly high and faster and farther away. But
Wow.
the movement that seems that is dragging us back now is what we are paying attention to.
Yeah.
So,
There, there's a reason for everything. And
all right.
we go through this because we are hardheads. We want to do it our way. Don't see that there's a certain way that we have to follow. And it is understanding the right, good way of being the best that we can as individuals.
Mm-hmm.
So much revolt, so much chaos in this world, and yet there's so much learning that we have gone through, yes, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not what we actually have to focus on, and somehow though we get lost, and we have to work like it says here. This is what we're here for. We keep going back and to over 2,000 years, and we're still here, and we've gotten some steps forward, but we keep going back, and so much work that has to be done.
It's interesting what you said. I never thought about that before, but when everything is good, it doesn't need any fix.
Exactly.
So now we have a day field in what needs to be improved, right?
Right.
So for those who are, driven by this emotion of improving things, there is so much room for improvement.
Exactly.
And so, I mean, there are opportunities, because if everything is okay, you just leave it as it is. And but now we look around and we say, no, those things are not okay. What can I do to change? And this is where, she talks about responsibility. She talks about self-control. She talks about the changes in terms of us not being simply bystanders, just staying there and watching on the side what is happening, but becoming part of, a new psychosphere that represents purification on our planet. And again, we are not talking about revolution here. We are not talking about going in strikes in street. We are talking about sometimes the small things, like we said before, in our field, the spiritual field. We do believe in the power of energy. We do believe in the power of positive thinking, of prayers, of being kind to others, of sending good things to the world, of doing good deeds. Maybe it's nothing, but you feel that your neighbor is going through a difficult phase. You don't have to do anything. Just bake a cake, go there, knock the door, and I brought it for you.
Yeah.
And I mean, how can you imagine that is not going to change something important in that day for that person? Right? It doesn't matter if the person likes cake or not, if I is going to eat or not, or
Yeah.
how, even if it's going to accept or reply, just the action.
Right. Right.
Oh, okay. Oh, you don't want. Okay, but I did it for you. In any case, if you wanted it there at my home. Oh, you know, it's something simple. We are not talking about becoming revolutionaries here. No, we are talking about those small things that we take for granted. And sometimes, words that we say that can bring more hope to others, or, the genuine share of experiences, right? And sometimes even our vulnerability, because from the outside, sometimes people look at us and think, oh,
Yeah.
they're heroes. They're heroes. Well, I don't know. Maybe in their dictionary, but in ours, right?
Think about it. No,
Uh,
no.
yes, and this is what we are talking about, and this is what Joanna de Angelis is talking about now, but with clarity, showing that this is what we are going through, and this is um, what we have to try to become more in control. Okay, let's read the rest.
Okay. So stay committed to your new plan to enlighten your conscience and achieve total harmony. Your present renunciation for the benefit of humankind reverberates through the sidereal waves of immortality. By changing, as you have been striving to, the old person into a new person, you will triumph tomorrow in the battle that you have now been fighting for some time. As an heir to the divine light, purify yourself to light up the world, radiating sublime rays of the blessings of love. Wow, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. So,
Yeah.
in other words, she's saying, whatever we do now to better ourselves, and as a consequence, to that is going to better the world is never going to be lost.
Right.
On the contrary, what we cannot do exactly is just do nothing. And yes, that will require sacrifices. Yes, that will require us hearing people coming to us and saying, I don't know, how can you have a vision of this world this way? Um, you're too optimistic, they will come with different adjectives saying that in a way they may be calling our names, right? But because they are labeling us under certain categorizations. Um, but no, this is something that should be to everyone, and it doesn't matter under what category of spirits and ethnicities and countries and or religions we are to we pertain or not. It is about us. It is about me taking control. At this moment, I have two options. Either I let myself be completely devastated by everything that is happening in the world, and boy, there is so much happening just around the corner. I don't have to go that far to make my day miserable. I just have to turn on the news if I wanted to be in a good mood now, right? And start seeing what is happening just in the city. I don't even need to know what is happening in the country or other countries or any other place, right? So, or I can say, yes, I'm an educated person. I know what is going on in the world, but I choose different. I choose because I have not to be dominated by that, because those things happen since the beginning of times. Since the beginning of times, we have been struggling, we have been in wars, we have been having people trying to dominate others, we have been facing weather problems, we have been facing, shortages of so many kinds, and we have been facing malice and weakness and badness and so many things. But what am I going to choose now? Of course, if I have a knowledge and understanding of a creator, then I'm going to side with the creator. And I'm going to say, I definitely do not understand you. Right? Sometimes that's what we are going to say. But I know there is a purpose for everything. So I trust this purpose. And I choose not to destroy myself for lack of hope, for lack of understanding, for thinking that, things are not in control and I cannot understand what is going on. So this is when she says, work on yourself, enlighten your conscience. It is going to radiate around, it's going to reverberate in all the cosmic rays of the universe. And we feel that, right? When a person that is very down comes to a place, you look, and even if you cannot see exactly, but you feel like a shadow has just entered the room, right?
Yeah.
Or you entered a place that feels like, you feel that oppression. So we feel that. So how can we say that this is not a thing, that this does not exist? And the same way that through history, we have been seeing ascensions and falls, we have been seeing changes here and there, and progress happening, maybe not at the speed that we would like. This progress is going to be happening as well. But it starts within ourselves. It starts in us not being contaminated, and it started in us believing, and as much as possible being the reason for others to go through the same path as we are going right now. Any comments, questions?
It's very nice then how she explained to us.
She's so good.
Yeah, then instead to be contaminated by this shadow psychosphere, we can use our thoughts, feeling, and start to change this, irradiate light from inside ourselves. It's very emotional to think I really am able to do this.
Yes, but it is true, Sonia. I see that so much with people, you know. It's so beautiful, you know. I know that sometimes we do not realize, because we have this tendency of not valuing that ourselves that much, right? And of course, we are always so very much critics about ourselves, right? There is this tendency in society that we keep on just seeing what is missing, right? Not what we have already. So, and you know, what you have, it was your obligation to do. I mean, so, okay, kudos for you, but go ahead. Right? And sometimes, you know, this way of us in society as acting, it doesn't work in our favor in the sense of giving a boost, of saying, come on, I know that, you know, when I come to a room, even because, you know, I'm not bringing any antagonistic thing into the room, I'm already bringing light to the room. I'm already bringing a positive vibe to the room. Okay, we're not superheroes. It doesn't mean that, you know, things may not happen just because we are there. But imagine if we were not, if there was not balance. Sometimes you say, "Oh my God, at Thanksgiving dinner we had problems." But I mean, imagine if you didn't have people that could counterbalance the other side, right? And then we look at those different things. So yeah, we have to start feeling happier with ourselves, with our behavior, with our victories, small victories, and keep going in this direction. And again, self-control when it's not possible. I just slip it this time. Okay, no problem. Start again. Rewind. Let's go to the beginning. No problem in doing that again. You know, this time I'll do better. And I mean, this is the fountain of youth, right? Everyone is looking for the fountain of youth, but this is being in good spirits, is being is believing even to the point when you're living excruciating pain, and then you will say to God, "It's now I'm completely in your hands." Completely in your hands, right?
Absolutely.
Anything else you would like to say? We have a few time, or you would like to bring?
Just remember 2 weeks ago, I bake a cake and invite part of family to my mom home, and then prepare like small things, simple things. But I really put the happiness and enjoy that moment for my mom to see decent parents, decent part of family. And then when finished, everybody said, Soninha, you put, was so happy. We enjoy every moment, every minute. And then now I realize maybe it's kind of feelings we put when we prepare something and invite someone to be together, and it's really real.
Yeah.
Everybody was shining for this kind of light of happiness and joy. It's true.
Yeah. No, it makes such a difference, right? This little ingredient called love, right? It makes all the difference. You can, use all the money in the world, hire the best caterers, right? Have the most exquisite everything, but it's still sometimes it brings a coldness.
Yeah.
That is not like the homemade
cake and
homemade
coffee.
cake, right? I mean, that's something like it's so amazing, and I'll tell you for sure, without, of course, not praising the work of the good chefs, but I really can taste
Right.
the ingredient of love. I really can taste it. I don't know. Don't ask me how, but it does taste different. It comes with. I mean, it's like one is like you eat a portion. You're not satisfied. The other one, just a bite, is like the source of living spring. Right?
Make you happy, right? Yeah.
It makes you happy because it comes with that, and I think this is I think is the invitation that she's giving. If we cannot do much right now, this is something that we can do, that can make ourselves better, happier with ourselves. We are not looking for reward, for words of praise, for anything. I'm doing out of my good heart, and I'm doing because I know it has been bitter later, and if I can bring any kind of sweet to the world, and sweet meaning the prayers, the candies, the everything, I think this is the least we can do, and it makes an impact, and it changes, and it helps people, and it helps ourselves, and it makes us feel good about ourselves. And
imagine if there are people out there that are doing that, and what a difference it makes, like you just said, and there are a lot who are doing it. The only thing is that we see a lot of the negative. We don't, they don't come on TV and give you good news.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as good news. So we don't hear, we don't see, but if we do it ourselves, then we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. Don't go by you turn on the news, or oh my goodness, your whole day gets destroyed. I'm not looking at that. No. So there are many, many trillions and billions, but we need more to contribute to what Joanna de Angelis is telling us. to strive to the best that we can, no matter what. Keep praying, keep have the faith, and we will be able to one day, maybe not in this life, we'll be able to see the difference.
Persevering, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because you see, I think we can be like sponges, right?
Right.
We absorb things, but I can choose what am I going to absorb, right? We will be absorbing things, and people are going to be absorbing things, but what am I going to be absorbing is up to me. What kind of place am I going to get next to absorb that energy, that that emotion, that water, that something, and then it is our responsibility. This is when we can be frustrated with ourselves, when we say, oh my God, why am I feeling this way? But I am the one that put myself into trouble. I'm the one that have, engaged in this kind of conversation, that have been, watching those news that I know is not going to be doing any good for me, or being attending a certain place that I knew from the start that I would find, people that not necessarily share my interests. We have to be more careful. And I think this is something that comes with age, of course, right? Because we start being more selective with your time, with your energy. So now it's like we can even say, you know what, I'm too tired today, all right? and people will say, okay, right? But it's something that we should be doing that from earlier in life. I have to be selective. I just don't go because everybody's going, or because I've been pushed to go. If I know it's not going to be something that is, at the end of the day, is going to be good for me at all, I'm not going to be engaging in a conversation that I know those kind of people. It's going to be talking about this kind of conversation that I don't like it, right? Or we'll be having this kind of food that I will be able to eat. I'll have to eat and obliged to eat, and I'm not going to be good for me. All those things. So it is our responsibility. And sometimes we will have to say to ourselves, you choose wrong today, but you're learning. Okay. Any other question or comment?
Sometimes we need to face that kind of different people as opportunity to share.
Yes.
To share what you have better.
Yeah. But this is when I say, Sonia, you have to go with the attitude that you are going to be the one that is going to allow your energy to predominate, or at least not to be affected by the other energy. Okay. We have to, I think it's very good, it's very positive, it brings good things to the ambient, but we have to be like Joanna de Angelis said in the last paragraphs. Renunciation, sacrifice. You know that you are going to a dangerous, a tricky place, right? That things may develop. And so you have to be on guard, in self-control, and saying, if any energy has to predominate, it should be the energy of good. Or at least I will not allow the adverse energy to take over me, because otherwise we failed. There was no upside point in going. Right? If we go and just get in the flow, we didn't do anything good, and we did something damage for us as well. So and this, I think, when I think about Jesus, walking among ourselves, it was all the time like this,
Right.
all the time a challenge, right? With the barbarian energies of ourselves around, doubting and touching and wanting and not understanding and all of that, okay, again, Jesus is Jesus. He could, but even Jesus could not change the whole environment.
Absolutely.
Right?
Always pray before you go
Yeah.
and
Yes.
ask for protection.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes. Pray, ask for protection, be vigilant. It's it's very challenging. It's very challenging. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, my dear. So thank you for
Thank you.
this.
Thank you.
Let me stop